About a year and a half ago, I made my own programming language. This was for a class, and we learned the entire process of creating a compiler and actually having that compiled to machine code. It was one of my favorite projects, but I was thinking of how can I make something creative based off this idea. So I was thinking, what if I make an Arabic programming language? And better yet, what if I use my native accent and make an Egyptian Arabic programming language? And that's where this idea came in. Arabic is a cool language. Egyptian Arabic is pretty cool. Programming languages are cool. Therefore, an Egyptian Arabic programming language is extra cool. Take a look at this language in action. The first thing you'll notice is that we have a custom file extension, ARSL. This stands for Arabic Slang Language. A function definition, you use the word ismi, as if you're like describing the function's name. If we want to print something to the screen, we use the keyword iktib, which is Arabic for write. And if we want to return something, we use ragga. That's the return statement. We're basing the syntax off of Python because I wanted to keep the code simple and just to explore the idea. If we want to have an input, we use the keyword shil. And then to have a print statement, again, we'll use iktib. So here you're seeing code, it's structured just like Python, but we're using keywords from Arabic. لو اسم زي, this means if name is like. So if the variable ism, zay, like Ahmed, we want to print ahsan ism. Otherwise, mafish means not there. This is the else statement. It's not there. So if we execute it, this is the REPL. So now we are executing it. We're executing this code as both a file. You can also write this in console, and you can have it written. You can have this written in class in the terminal itself. So this is the REPL itself, and now we are using prompts just like we would in Python. So yep, if we write Ahmed, ahsan ism. And now let's try writing the code inside the REPL itself. So now we're just a simple print statement, and we're showing the translated version from Python. And now this is loading the ARSL file. If it's not there, the code won't compile. And if we run the Python script with the ARSL extension, then it will actually execute our code, which is what we want at the end of the day. Now let's look at the implementation for this project. The first thing I did was to create a hash map of the different Arabic words and map them to keywords in Python. So here, law, if, غير ده is else if, and then mafish is else. So I go with that pattern throughout all of the keywords I actually want to implement. I'm basing the syntax off of Python. Instead of creating my own language from scratch, I just want to make this as a proof of concept of my idea. So here I'm just mapping the different Arabic words to different Python keywords. This method is the meat and potatoes of the whole application. So we want to turn the code from the ARSL file into lines that can be executed as a Python script essentially. So here we go through each line from the input, we split it, and then we keep the leading spaces, which is very important. We don't want to, this is something it took me a while to figure out because I would transpile it, but the spaces were gone, and then the code would always give an error. And then we just substitute the slang word or whatever word it is, the Arabic word, with the Python keyword from that hash map. And then we append all of this into our Python code array, and then join it by the -n is just for a new line. So we just add each line into one giant string. And that's essentially what we want to execute. And now for the executing phase. Because we're not trying to build a complete compiler from scratch, I'm just using the exec function from Python and just running this Python code that we transpiled from the Arabic language. Here, I'm making a simple Arabic parser that shows the translated code as well as actually executes it and shows the output of what you wrote. Now, to actually ensure that users use the correct file extension, I made a method called Arabic parser CLI. It's actually pretty easy. All I have to do is check if the file name ends with the extension I want. If it does, then we actually read it. Otherwise, we don't read this file at all. So now we go to the REPL, which allows you to actually run the code from inside of a shell. We have an infinite loop that only ends once the input is exit. Otherwise, it just keeps calling the Arabic parser and actually running your code and keeping it. And then here inside of our main script, if sys.args, there is a file that just checks if there's a file. We execute it with the file. Otherwise, we just do the local test, which just inside of the terminal. And that's just a simple test that I'm just doing. All in all, this project is not hard at all to implement. As you can see, it was just a little over 100 lines because I wasn't trying to make the grammar significantly different from Python. I just wanted to test the idea of using Egyptian Arabic slang as its own programming language. In this case, it actually turned out pretty well. I'm really happy with this project, and in the future, I want to make more complex languages that actually take the grammar of Arabic into account, and then design a whole language around that. Maybe a right to left language, that would be pretty interesting. But again, let me know what you think if this is something you'd actually like to see. All in all, I hope you enjoyed this project and learned something about this, and seeing the fact that you can make these interesting projects and these cool ideas without a lot of code. Contrary to popular belief, it's actually pretty cool and interesting to see how you can do this with just a few lines of code and using built-in methods within whatever target programming language you're using. All in all, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I hope you enjoy the video, and see you in the next one.